Welcome to Foro Politico. My name is Marcos Palma, free and independent. Today is August 18, 2016, and this is Latino PBS. Today we're going to talk about a lawyer from Riverside, California, who is suing small businesses supposedly for gender price discrimination. Mr. Morales is representing a lady by the name Mireya Arias. I have to tell you that most of his business that he is representing, they're hair salons and dry cleaners. They are owned mostly by Latino immigrants. This is a lawsuit where some think that this lawyer is taking advantage of these businesses, and according to the article by the Press Enterprise in Riverside, the lady that he's representing, he visited those businesses in advance, and once they notice that they have not displayed the prices is when they say that they taken advantage of this situation. Many of the owners said that they do not know this regulation, gender price discrimination. And I want to read to you about this assembly bill. It's called 1080A, and was approved in 2001, and says existing law provides that no businesses establishment may discriminate with respect to the price charged for services of similar or like kind against a person because of the person's gender. Existing law specifies, however, that it does not prohibit price difference, specifically based upon the amount of time, difficulty, or cost of providing the services. This bill will require specified businesses establishment to disclose in writing the pricing for each standard service as defined to display in a specified manner, a sign stating that it's illegal to base pricing on gender, and that a complete price list is available upon request, and to display in a specific manner a price list, and to provide the customer with a copy of the complete price list upon request. The bill will provide that a business establishment failing to correct a violation of this requirement within 30 days of receiving written notice of the violation is liable for a civil penalty of $1,000. This is the law that was written in 2001. And right now, some of the businesses owners, they had their court date already, but they told us that they could pay until $10,000 for this lawsuit, but also this lawsuit could be dismissed. In this show, we're going to have the lawyer who practices immigration law, and he's representing this lady, Mireya Arias. His name is Rogelio Morales. We will have the lawyer who's defending these businesses. His name is Brian Owens. And we have some other business owners that they've been sued by this woman, Mireya Arias. And we're going to take a phone call from this lawyer, Mr. Rogelio Morales, and we're going to start with him. Morales, this is Marcos Palma from TVC Latino, and this is about the interview by phone because unfortunately you couldn't make it to our TV studios. Can you give us a few minutes? Mr. Morales? Hello?
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well. That's fine. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, Mr. Morales, we're going to start, and then again, my name is Marcos Palma from TVC Latino. We are located here in San Bernardino, California, and later we're going to have the lawyer that is representing some businesses, is Mr. Brian Oils. And also we're going to have some business owners, and then let me start with you. And
how long will this take? Because I have an appointment at 3, so I don't want to.
Don't worry, it's going to be no more than 15 minutes. It's going to be something brief, but I'm going to ask you. If you can be brief in your answers because we don't have much time. Okay, thank you. We're going to start now. Thank you for joining us. And now in this segment, we're going to speak to Mr. Morales. Mr. Morales is in Riverside. He's an immigration lawyer. He's representing these clients, a client that is suing some of the businesses in Riverside. He's representing this lady by the name Mireya Arias. And Mr. Morales, thank you very much for taking us this phone call. And now you're completely busy, but that's why we want to thank you. Can you explain in a brief how did this lawsuit started, please?
How did what?
How did this lawsuit start? How come did you start doing this lawsuit against those businesses?
Because they're violating the law. Gender Tax Repeal Act of 1995 prohibits a person being charged differently solely based on their race. I'm sorry, solely based on their sex. So these businesses were doing that. So that's why lawsuits are filed.
Can you tell us who is this woman that you represented, Mireya Arias? How did she start it?
She's my client.
She's your client, okay. But how did this lawsuit started? If you can explain, like she started doing to go to those businesses, and then how did she get to you and say, oh, I need some help because I've been felt discriminated?
Well, under California law, there's something called the attorney-client privilege. So what you're asking me is to disclose confidential communication between an attorney and a client, and I can't do that. So I wouldn't be able to ask questions without her written consent to be able to discuss those communications.
Once you, well, don't tell me about her, but once you start to handle this lawsuit, did you speak to those businesses? How did you approach them?
Well, in a few instances, we contacted them because, segregation is an expensive process. It's also a very emotionally taxing process. Most people know that, and most people try to find some sort of settlement before they start spending a lot of money. Now, there's a lot of time and a lot of headaches on the fighting lawsuits. These business owners have decided to fight back, and now we're in the middle of that.
And since you are an immigration lawyer, you had that the right to file those lawsuits even though it's not related to immigration?
Well, I'm a California licensed attorney. There's no such thing as like an immigration bar. For example, like there's attorneys that, for example, attorneys, they have to be admitted to be able to practice patent law. I'm a California licensed attorney, so I can practice in any immigration court in the country. I can go to Idaho, for example, and practice immigration law because it's federal. So I'm a California licensed attorney, so I'm admitted into every court in the state of California. So I'm not limited to immigration. I can do any other kind of law. I can do white law, I can do probate, I can do conservatorship, I can do whatever I want. So long as I'm allowed to. I'm admitted to the federal courts as well.
Regarding this gender discrimination lawsuit, how many businesses are you representing right now, and who they are?
Any businesses?
I mean, how many you're suing? How many businesses are you suing?
Well, again, Ms. Arias isn't the only person that client in these sort of things, and I can't disclose other clients' cases.
According to the press enterprise, I tried to corroborate with you this information, but according to the press enterprise, they said 7 hair salons and 4 dry cleaners since April. That means 11 businesses they've been suing. But I don't know if by this that's just one client or different clients.
Right. So I can't discuss any other clients. I may or may not.
And I just want to ask you a personal questions. When you go to do your haircut, those places that you visit, did they have display about the prices or the services that you receive it?
Where I go?
Yes, where you go to do your
haircut? Where I go, they comply with the law.
They comply with the law. And what the law said about this gender discrimination?
That they can charge different prices for like or similar based on that.
And they have
the signage required.
I'm going to refer again to this Press Enterprise article that they said some of the businesses, they think that you're taking advantage of them because they're Latino immigrants. What's your answer to this comment?
Well, that's just a lie perpetrated by Solana Sagun. In the audio, have you gone to my page for my law firm?
And also, if you
I'm asking, have you gone to my Facebook page, my law firm Facebook page?
And then and those.
I'm asking a question. Have you gone to my Facebook page? On my Facebook for the law firm. Have you gone there?
No, sir.
Okay, so you're not aware of the audio recording of Brian Owens and Rosalena Sagun?
I'm not aware of that.
Where they're telling people?
No, that's why you're telling. If you can, okay.
To turn the discrimination questions in issue about immigration. You're not familiar with that audio recording that's public. It's a basis for a restraining order that Rosalena Sagun filed with Victor Franco against me. You're not aware of that?
But this is this the same issue or is this a different issue?
No, the same issue.
The same issue.
You're saying, well, how do I respond to the fact that they're saying that this is an immigration that we're still Latino? Are you aware that the recording, Attorney Brian Owens, Rosalena Sagun, where they're telling protesters that protested in my office on July 17th to turn these gender discrimination issues into immigrant issues, to garner public support and to sway public opinion against myself and my client. Are you aware of that recording that's been out in public now for over a month?
I'm not aware about that recording, but I'm
okay,
aware.
Are you aware of the restraining order?
Yes, I'm aware. Yes, yes, Mr. Yes,
are you aware?
I'm aware of that, but I'm not aware of that recording. But I'm aware of that team that supposedly Mrs. Sagun is helping those businesses to organize, to protest against you. I'm aware of that.
In the recording, she's telling them, if a reporter asks you about gender discrimination, tell them this is about immigration. Were you aware she told them that?
Well, I'm going to have them later and I'm going to ask them and they can give me their side. You give me your side, they give me their side. I'm not a judge here. I'm just trying to find out the facts.
But I mean,
and you're telling me that, that's fine.
Like you're not familiar with the facts.
What's
going on?
But that's what I'm having you, Mr. Morales. I'm not familiar with the whole story. I'm trying to find out. I think so that's part of that story that our audience, they need to know those stories because you're telling something that is in the internet. It's in the Facebook of somebody, but this is not the internet. This is public.
It's been seen by over 7,000 people, according to Facebook.
According to Facebook, but we're not Facebook, Mr. Morales. This is a public television.
It's not a small thing. It's not I would think as a report, you would want to check
let me tell you.
The other side is.
Let me tell you.
And it's been posted all over the place. And it's on Rosalena Sagun's Facebook page. That I would think we would look as if you should be prepared as to the things that are going on. It sounds like you're not familiar with the restraining order that she filed.
Let me tell you, Mr. Morales, let me tell you one thing, with all due respect. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I never hide before anybody about anything. And always I put my name and put my face. We ask you to come over. I know that you're extremely busy. 2 weeks ago, we asked you to come over. We had people that they show up and they really want to put their face and tell the story. Unfortunately, you're doing this by telephone and you're asking me to read the story in a Facebook. I don't think so that's appropriate. We try to be more professional and try to, if you don't have nothing, okay, let's talk about it. Yes, we want to hear your side. The other people, they have their sides, and the end of that story, people, they're going to decide. But let me tell you this. Are you trying to settle these lawsuits? But are you asking for money, or what will be the solution to settle down these cases?
Well, at this point, my client's interested in settling. So at this point, no. In the beginning, we're doing that because they have, because it was in the beginning there wasn't such acrimony. But this has really hardened my client. She has no interest now in settling. She wants me to go as hard as I possibly can to win now. So she's not interested in settling.
Did, did tell me about the damages by your client. What kind of damages Mr. Mireille Arias suffered because of this discrimination? Because I know about discrimination is hard to prove. It's very hard to say you discriminate against me, even though if you have no evidence, if you have no conversations, if you don't have video about that I've been discriminated. In this situation, this lady was suffered. Did she feel any damages?
Well, she suffered damages in the sense that she paid a discriminatory price just based on her gender. So that's the damages, and obviously in each case it's different, the amounts. But the gender tax section 52A of the California procedure says that a jury or a judge can award, quote, any amount, end quote. Any amount a jury or can decide she's in this based on evidence that the judge or the jury hears. So, yeah, we're still in the beginning stages of these lawsuits, and we're still barely doing discovery. We're going to obtain eventually bank records of all these businesses. We're going to obtain text messages. We're going to depose people. We're going to get everything as much as we can out. And we're going to see. We're going to see the different prices that are being charged. This isn't just going to be of my client. We're going to be able to prove it through a pattern. Also, there's video. I mean, some of these people have admitted there's a video of my client get extra. We're going to, talk to the jury or judge and ask them if the haircut that a male received at their business is a like or similar service. I mean, they can, if a judge decides that a simple trim haircut where they're literally the end of her hair, nothing more, that merits higher price than, say, a clip cut. A gentleman sits down and he gets a 3 on the side, and they do the outline of his hair on the back, and a square, and then cut his hair with scissors, and it takes more than her haircut. She still needs to pay more. If a judge or jury believes this is like or similar service, if they're willing to take that chance with the judge jury, then that's their decision.
Mr. Morales, I'm sorry for interrupt you, but we don't have much time. I just would like to ask you that last question. What will be your message for those businesses that they have not have this kind of signs about the prices? Because that is not fair to sue somebody that they does not know about this thing. Does the law prevent it that this thing happening? Educating those businesses, telling them you better have those prices in the wall or wherever place that they can see it? What would be your message?
Well, I mean, if people aren't happy with the law, they can vote and change it. But that's the law. If they don't like it, then go vote and change it.
If they don't like it, you're going to be, fighting for these people that they're trying to present suing businesses. And you're telling me in conclusion that these lawsuits doesn't have nothing to do with that they're Latino immigrants and they're easy that because they're not complaining. Is your conclusion?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I don't know why they would think. I don't know why they would think that we would know that, for example, Cheek Hair Salon is business. How would we know that Cheek Hair Salon? Or, for example, Exotic Image Hair Salon. Does that sound like a Latino business to you?
We're gonna follow this case, Mr. Morales, and I hope you can join us for the next show that we have regarding this. Is that okay for you, Mr. Morales?
Yeah, but I mean, just to kind of push back on what you said, it's not fair. These are laws. If people don't like laws, they can change them.
I agree with you.
The California legislature specifically authorized private people to be able to bring lawsuits under this law. Why, think about that for a second. Why would the legislature just allow people to do that? Maybe because they wanted to eradicate that kind of discrimination. Don't you think they knew? Don't you think they knew that there would be people who go around suing on this? Don't you think they knew that, the California legislature, when they passed this law?
I agree with that, but I also agree that people needs to be educated, and most when they're immigrants, they do not know the laws. When it's like, for example, when you drinking and driving, that's the consequences, and this has to people need to be educated. And just consider one more thing, the language barrier. People, they do not understand. I don't know if this thing is called, I have with me this called Assembly Bill number 1088. I don't know if that bill is in Spanish. That's another thing, but that will be for another show. Thank you very much, Mr. Morales, for taking our phone call. Thank you, sir.
Okay, and let me just one last point. And also, just really quick, less than 30 seconds. The gender tax repeal in 1995, if you read it, it specifically targets certain businesses. It targets dry cleaners, it targets hairstylists, and it targets alteration. Do you think coincidence they decided to choose just those three? They chose those three because the discrimination that the legislature found in those industries was pervasive and severe. Read the legislative history. There's a reason they pointed those three out. That wasn't an accident. They didn't just put a dartboard, but industry, the dart, and do the dart, and then where it landed, they said, okay, legislate this one in the law.
That's a deal.
They did findings, and they found these industries are the worst offenders.
That's a deal, Mr. Morales. I'm going to read that, and please join us for the next conversation about this gender price discrimination. Thank you, Mr. Morales.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break, but please stay with us. I'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. This is FORO Politico, and now I want to welcome Mr. Brian Owens. He is the defense lawyer for these businesses that they've been suing by supposedly gender price discrimination in Riverside, California. Mr. Owens, thank you very much for coming with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We're going to start with this. First of all, how did those businesses approach you? How did they get to you?
I was just approached by one of the businesses, and from there, the remainder of them had followed.
And then explain to us about this gender price discrimination, because supposedly we do not know about this. And many businesses, they did not know about this.
Correct.
And then if you can explain in a brief, because I have about this Assembly Bill 1088, but according to Mr. Morales, it's another one, since another bill that talks about this gender discrimination. In a brief, what is all about it?
So the Gender Discrimination Act generally says that service providers cannot discriminate in pricing based on gender. So they can't charge a woman more than they can charge a man, and vice versa.
But if you go to every place, there are different prices. I mean, this is not about the haircuts, it's about the time that they spend with their client. Or how, I mean, I don't understand how did this started in those years, in 1995, or when did this was created by the legislators?
Correct, I believe it was 1995 is when this was specifically passed. This is a part of a larger statutory scheme called the Unruh Act, which protects civil rights for individuals. And what it was they had found that there was some price discrimination occurring in salons and in dry cleaning businesses. And so they kind of specifically targeted the statute to ensure that that wasn't occurring.
Is there any case that you can tell to us that that's why this come out, this 1995 law?
No, but just reading through the legislative comments for that statute, there is history that they discuss.
Have you ever had these kind of cases, representing these cases like gender price discrimination?
These cases are rare. You usually see them more for car washes where they have ladies' nights, or bars or clubs where they have ladies' nights. And men are excluded, or they have to pay a cover price where the women don't.
How many cases are you representing? What kind of businesses are you representing?
Currently, with this string of lawsuits, I'm representing salon owners and dry cleaners. And I have 7 at this time.
And the fact that their businesses and the owners, they're Latino immigrants, most of them they're Latinos? You have white people, African American, or another nationalities and other races?
There are a couple of other nationalities involved. Predominantly, they're Latino.
But there's nothing had to do anything with that race, with ethnicity. Can we say that?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say it has nothing to do with race or ethnicity.
Then once these businesses, they did not comply with this law or regulation, what benefits do they have in case to defend themselves, even though they say, okay, They supposed to have the sign which would show the prices of their services. But how can they defend themselves, even though for those ones they do not know about this regulation?
Correct. So the businesses can represent or can defend themselves in two ways. First, the statute allows you to charge men and women different prices if it's not based on their gender, but it's based on the time or the skill or the work that's involved or the equipment or the products that are involved. So if it's based on something other than gender, there can be a price difference, and that's what's happened here. Second, the statute has a provision that requires the posting of pricing, and that provision has a 30-day period. So there has to be written notice to the owner for 30 days before a lawsuit can be brought under that provision.
Did your client receive that notification about that?
No, none of my clients received notification until the filing of the lawsuit.
Then it looks like it's going to be a piece okay for you.
Well, as far as the $1,000 penalty for the notice issue, that should be kicked out.
And the media and the press enterprise says that this lawyer, Mr. Morales, is representing a lady by the name Mireya Arias, that supposedly is his girlfriend. And is appropriate to a lawyer to represent a person close to them that could be a relation between them? Because supposedly she's been visiting many businesses, and then that's why they try to chase on businesses and try to do those lawsuits.
The state bar rules do allow for an attorney to have relationships with their clients. So as far as the state bar is concerned, there isn't an issue representing your girlfriend as long as it doesn't affect her ability to represent her fairly and adequately.
And the cases that you have, is the same person suing those businesses, or is different people?
Correct, it's the same plaintiff.
It's the same?
Yes.
What's your take on that?
Well, I don't really want to share my personal view for fear.
Okay, okay. How do you see this case? Like, could be settled this case without going to the jury duty to go to that to the go beyond, or was it not possible to settle?
At this point, it doesn't appear that a settlement is in the horizon. These business owners are adamant that they did nothing wrong, and as far as I know, they did nothing wrong. As far as I can tell, they have done nothing wrong, and so they want to prove it. They want their day in court.
There are some clients that they already had the day in court. How long will take the process in order to dismiss this case, or I don't know, you have to settle?
The process is going to be long. If we have to go to trial, most of these cases are set for what's called a case management conference in October, November, and December. From there, the court system will usually set it out for a trial setting conference, and that usually takes 3 months, 4 months before that. And then it will be set for trial, so you're looking at trial in probably about a year.
Would you advise your clients to go to the trial?
Well, my clients are adamant about going to trial this time, so whether I advise them to do it or not, they're going to go to trial.
What could happen in that process if they go to trial? That could be dismissed by Mr. Morales, the lawyer that is representing this lady that's suing these businesses?
Well, the case can be dismissed before trial by Ms. Arias at any time. Further, there are some techniques that can be used and will be used in this case to try and get a judgment before the trial date ever happens.
Mr. Owens, we've seen their videos where they show some businesses protesting in front of Mr. Morales, this lawyer. Is that allowed by the law?
Well, everybody has a First Amendment right, and they can protest if they'd like to protest. Any protests that I know of were sanctioned. The police department was there and allowed it to happen.
As a lawyer, would you advise to do that?
I would not advise anybody to protest because that's not my role in this. My role is not to affect the public opinion and impact what's going to happen at trial. My role is to fairly ensure there is a trial.
Could be any ethical consequences as a lawyers not fighting between the clients, but fighting as a professionals between lawyers? Could be ethical consequences?
Well, there are some rules of civility, and those should be followed between lawyers.
Now talking about those businesses, can they do a counterclaim, like because they feel discriminated because apparently this lawyer chased them because the Latinos or something like that?
Well, if they feel they've been discriminated against, they could bring a lawsuit under a very similar statute that does allow for a lawsuit in the situation of discrimination by a business to a business. Further, in the event that they win these cases and they feel that it's proper, they can bring a malicious prosecution action to sue for their lost costs and time and other things.
How confident you feel that you will win these cases?
Based on discussions with clients and what discovery has shown so far, I'm pretty confident that there was no gender discrimination here. Everything in the pricing difference was based on the skill, the services received, the materials used in those services.
Do you think there will come up more cases about this? That this lawyer will come up with another lawsuits because of that?
Well, I certainly hope not. However, the future is bleak and grim as far as that's concerned.
Sometimes the law is like we do not understand. Mm-hmm. But you as a lawyer or the lawyers, they can read and study and be prepared for a court case or whatever. But how a lawyer can lose their license? Is it possible that happen?
It is possible for a lawyer to lose their license, yes.
An example like this, could that happen? Or could be submitted to some penalties or some things because they're not doing the right thing?
I don't really feel comfortable speaking in that regard. As far as I know, there are some cases where that has happened in similar circumstances.
Mr. Owens, what would be your message for those businesses that they have no display their prices in order to avoid this kind of lawsuits?
Well, any business that is watching this or listening to this should ensure that their prices are up. And that's only if they're a salon or a dry cleaner, so they need to ensure they're following this code section. And they're more than welcome to call my office, and I'll help them with ensuring they're in compliance with that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Owens, and good luck with your cases.
Great, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to interview some of the businesses that they're being affected by this lawsuit. Please stay with us. This is FORO Politico. Thank you for joining us. This is FORO Politico, and now I want to welcome Mrs. Rosy Quintana. She is one of the businesses that is being sued by this lady, Mireya Arias. She has been represented by Mr. Morales, Rogelio Morales. And Rosy Quintana is the owner of this businesses. Your Hair Salon, Hair Center is in Riverside, California. She's been for 17 years. Thank you very much for joining us,
Thank you.
Mrs. Quintana. Tell us a little bit about this woman, Mireya Arias, this woman that is suing your businesses and also another businesses. Was she a regular client in your business?
Never seen the woman before, nor her boyfriend, which happens to be Rogelio Morales. They came in for haircuts. Not a word came from them. Very strange. It was an awkward day that we remembered who they were when all this came about. We had never seen them, and I know all my customers were all. It's like a home there too, okay? Because we all know each other. We greet each other. My clientele that goes there feels like it's home. So for these two to walk in, Mireya Arias, never once seen her in my life. So it was different for me.
Had you ever noticed something wrong with this lady, with this couple that were in your place?
It was awkward because the way they came in, they didn't speak a word. They both came in, sat down at our chairs, and I cut Mireya's hair. And, I suggested, layers, let's cut this, let's frame you. And she didn't speak. She said, no, just shook her head. Said, okay, would you like me to do something different, blow dry it, curl it? Again, not a word. All she did was, turn her head. And when Rogelio got his haircut from my other girl, he asked for a number 3, and it didn't cut, so we suggested, how about another one? He just said, no. Anything off the top, no. And it was rare because at all times he held the telephone, and you would see him like watching to see what we were doing. It came to where it came about that he was timing, but there's no timing on a haircut because the haircuts were both different. His wasn't even cut. It was basically just touched, but no hair was taken off of the man. Her maybe at least a couple of, a few inches, less than an inch or so.
You've been for 17 years with your businesses. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard about this gender price discrimination? Has anybody approached you and explained to you and told you about this price discrimination? Because I bet you that after this story, many businesses are gonna do the right thing according to the law.
Never heard about it. It did come out. I'm not going to say never heard. Yes, I did. But you know what? I never had a complaint from anybody because our prices are fair. Okay? It's not something outrageous. It's fair prices. Okay? But never in my life. The whole years I've been there, I'm going to say the 17 years, I've never had a problem.
Have you ever thought about that there will be any discrimination because of the gender? Because men is easier to do a haircut, woman has to take more time, more material or something like that? Or how did you sell your prices?
My prices, okay, like I said, they were reasonable. The men, everybody, and like I said, a lot of my customers too are regulars. But to say that I have an outrageous price, no, because she's claiming from 50 cents to $2, okay? And I just thought, for everybody else it's different, but mine were, again, reasonable.
When you received this letter about the lawsuit, how did you receive it? What did you do?
I was shocked, very shocked, thinking, who would do this, who would actually come out and do this? I could go on, but no. But I said, this is sad. These are small businesses, people making a decent living, trying to grow the small businesses, mom and pop shops. I thought, and for someone to come out, because if you look at it, all the businesses are small little businesses, no corporations that are big or expanding or anything, small mom and pop's businesses. And I thought, why didn't he hit bigger companies? I asked myself, so.
Did you feel like that happened because you were Latino, you were an immigrant, or things like that? Have you ever thought through your mind, like this is maybe because of these guys trying to take advantage of that?
I feel he's taking advantage of a lot of people that are immigrants, because I myself am a U.S. citizen, I felt, why did he pick, there is a lot. Maybe he thought I was an immigrant, but no, I was, born here, and I will stand by those immigrants because of what he's doing and the way he's treating them. I think he's doing a wrong. He's doing wrong in discriminating the Latino people, okay? I did see that. A lot of Latinos are there, and I thought, no. My parents are immigrants, and I stand by these people, and I will stand by them and go and challenge this man for his wrongdoing, him and Mireya doing the wrong. Hopefully other people too will not say, well, no, why help them now? No, right now is where you take the stand to get people like this man and this woman to pay for what they're doing. Teach them, don't go out and assume that you can go ahead and take lawsuits on. No, we've got to stop these guys.
Have you ever feel afraid not to stand up and fight against this lawsuit? Because sometimes this is a culture, not to fight for something, and instead of going to court or settle down because of the culture could be. Have you ever feel like that?
No, I'm on for the guy. I'll take him and Mireya. I'm not afraid of them. Okay, I made it clear when he called to settle, and I said, I'm not settling. I'll see you in court. And he said, we can settle, and you don't have to pay, because you'll be paying more than $10,000, and we can settle out of court.
Did he treat you like that? Did Mr. Morales call you and try to settle down this
Yes,
lawsuit?
he did. Yes, he did. And I said, no. I said, I want to take it to court to prove that you're wrong and I'm right. Because I felt I didn't do, and I felt none of us did anything wrong, because we're working people. Okay, we all have our salons, and out of these 17 years, never has anybody said anything. My customers stand by me. They disagree with what this man is doing, Rogelio and Mireya. And from what I've seen, a lot of people are standing by us because of his wrongdoing, knowing that what he is doing is wrong.
Had you ever had your court date so far?
No, but I have showed up to other people's because we're supporting each other, and I feel that helps us out a lot. Mr. Bryant's there, Rosalena, most of the salons are there, and we have been protesting. He's been there, made a fool out of himself several times, I'm going to say. Not several, all the time. And he's been there, and I'm thinking, okay, let's keep it going, you know? We'll be there till the end, sticking together. And like you said, I will stick to these people because whether they're immigrants or not, what he's doing is wrong.
What is the consensus of the other businesses, of businesswomen, businessmen against this lawsuit? Because you said you got together or you communicate between you. Did they feel confident that they're going to throw out or dismiss this case?
Oh, we feel confident, I'll tell you that. And then the lawyers we have, Rosalena and Mr. Bryant, and everybody else's lawyers, we stand by them because they stand with pride with what they're doing. And this guy, no. All he's doing is putting down other lawyers and making himself look like a fool, other than showing respect to the community, which he's not doing. And the girlfriend, I'm waiting for her to come out of hiding. So.
Then you've been protesting in front of his business.
Yes, yes, and I'm loving every minute of it. A lot of us, it's like, let's go, you know? We're for it. Come on, let's go. I can keep going and going. I'm loving the protest, and everybody says, keep going, and we'll be there. They're out to, you know, help us out, the community, everybody else. And I'm hoping more Latinos out there are watching us and say, hey, let's go. Let's give them a call. Let's help them out, you know. Let's go to the courthouse, which would be so greatly appreciated. I don't care how many come. Bring your family, bring your kids, but we need as many protesters as we can get to show this man that we're not alone and we stand by the law, and he's out there.
Had you ever received support from other businesses or from legislators to telling you that keep going with this lawsuit?
A lot of them have helped us out.
What have they told you?
They said, don't quit, keep going, because there's other things I can't say. So let's get on to the next one. I don't want to.
Then those protests, how many people they've been protesting in front of Mr. Morales? And what were you trying to get with those protests in front of his business? Like give you bad reputation? Or?
One, people know who he is, what he's out to do, and know that he's not a good lawyer, that he's doing this for his benefit of him and the girlfriend. There's no sense, because like we said, out of being there 17 years, never did I have a problem. This man and this woman show up, again, it was like, who is this? And, you know, we were like, okay, they were kind of awkward, you know, the way they both came in. Then after we found out who they were, bingo, it made sense. It all fell into place. And I thought, okay, you know, I said, it's a wrongdoing, you know.
But even though if you said it's a wrongdoing, but in overall, what did you think about this gender price discrimination that was created in 1995? Because when you get your license, nobody explained to you about this. Nobody told you, or did they tell you when you got your business, you have to display your prices in detail? Did they ever told you that?
No, because I graduated way back then,
no, but even though the new, because when
I get my haircut, in 95.
I asked them, they had no prices, they have nothing.
They didn't
say,
have no.
Okay, now they scared because they're afraid somebody's going like this woman or whatever and trying to do a lawsuit. But since they did not explain to you, even though that they did not give you that 30-day notice about that.
He didn't give us no 30-day notice, but you know what? Like I said, our prices are fair. It's nothing, you know, I went to the shop, the salon, and I asked the price. Did they have a sign or anything? I'm not going to say the name of the shop. And their prices for a man's haircut was $45, female $55 and up. But there was no price, and I thought, okay, so why did Rogelio Morales hit this place? You know, why did he hit these small business shops? That's where I feel his intentions were. there, you know, to hit small business.
After this experience, are you planning to display your prices, or you already displayed your prices about that?
I've had my prices not displayed. He never requested a paper, which I had on my dress, the price list, never requested it, never said anything. And usually people, like, you know, ask. This time he didn't. He didn't ask a question. He didn't ask anything. Like I said, they didn't talk. They just sat down. We asked what they needed, and that was it. But I do have my prices. They're on the wall, but I always had my price list on my desk. So if someone were to request it, I'd say, here you go. Okay? So I feel I was safe.
Stay with us, Mrs. Quintana. We have to take another break. Please stay with us also. I'll be right back. You're watching FORO Político. We're talking with Mrs. Rosy Quintana. She is the owner of the Your Hair Salon Hair Center that is in Riverside, California. She's been for 17 years. And she has been sued by a lady that she's been represented by Mr. Rogelio Morales in Riverside. It's about gender price discrimination. We almost finished, Mrs. Quintana, and thank you very much. After this experience that you're facing, because it's not about maybe the money, but it's about the dignity of the people. The dignity of some of them that they try to take advantage. When you say you're working hard to get some money, and there's some, they think that they're very smart, try to take out your money. But after all this, what will be your message for those businesses that they do not know about this gender price discrimination? What would you tell them?
Just to be smart about it. I mean, the last thing we expect for anyone to come into our business and do this, you know, get your cameras out there, put your prices out there. If you don't recognize that person or you don't know it, because usually all your customers are your regular customers that keep coming back and back, you'll know. Just be alert. There's other people doing the same. It's just not Rogelio and Mireya Arias. There's other people. Just, you know, keep your cameras going, because the camera will say, it'll show a lot of things versus what the person that's out to sue you is going to do. And for the other, the people that are being sued, stand up for your rights. Don't give in to this man and his girlfriend or anybody else that's out to sue you. Stand up, because if you know you're clean and you know you haven't done anything wrong, stand up for it and fight it. And don't let anybody try to incriminate you in any way.
And finally, what do you think about Mrs. Rosa Elena Sagun, that she's been supporting you even though she's not representing you in court? What is the role that she's playing in this kind of lawsuit?
Stand together, únete, like she has it, okay? Stand together, únete, her words out there. She is on Facebook, Rosa Elena Sagun. She's helped us out quite a bit in, like I said, making sure we don't cross over a line and we don't, you know, before we do anything, we'll think, because we don't want to incriminate ourselves. And that's where she comes in. She's not suggesting, she's just looking out for us so that we stand up and we do what's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would you like to add something else? I'm sorry.
Just that if all of you can come help support us, who's ever watching, come stand by, come with us and help us out. It'll be great, you know, because we need to stick together throughout this with the Latino community.
How did you feel the lawyer is Latino too? Doesn't have to do anything with this? I'm
just gonna, I could say a lot, but I'm gonna say no comment.
No comment. Thank you very much, Mrs. Rosy Quintana, the owner of Your Hair Salon, Hair Center, a business that is been sued by this Mireya Arias, being represented by Mr. Rogelio Morales in Riverside, California. Thank you, everybody, for making this television show. On behalf of everybody, thank you so much. Good night and see you soon.